The text message arrived Thursday afternoon while I was in a budget meeting. Mom's words glowed on my phone screen. Great news. Got approved for the business loan. Using the Maple Street house as collateral. Bank said it's fine since it's family property. Dad's ordering the restaurant equipment tomorrow. I excused myself from the meeting. Walked to the bathroom. Read the message 4 more times. Each word registered separately, like watching a car accident in slow motion where you see every detail but can't quite process that it's happening to you. The Maple Street house was mine. Solely mine. Inherited from my grandmother Patricia in 2021. Deed recorded. Property taxes paid by me for 3 years. Homeowner's insurance in my name alone. I called the number Mom had included. First National Business Lending. Asked for the loan officer handling my parents' application. Got transferred twice before reaching Derek Chin. I'm calling about the business loan for Robert and Linda Martinez, I said. I understand they're using a property as collateral. Yes, the Maple Street residence. Nice property, appraised at $285,000. More than adequate for the $180,000 loan amount. Who's listed as the property owner on your documents? Pause. Papers rustling. Robert and Linda Martinez, joint owners. I need copies of all loan documents, the property appraisal and the title search you conducted. May I ask your relationship to the borrowers? I'm their daughter. I'm also the actual legal owner of that property. They don't own it. They never have. The silence on the other end lasted exactly 7 seconds. I counted. I'll need to escalate this to our legal department immediately. Please don't go anywhere. Stay on the line. I didn't go anywhere. I stood in the bathroom of my office building, staring at my reflection in the mirror above the sink, watching a woman I barely recognized. She looked calm. She looked like someone who'd finally stopped flinching. Derek Chin returned with a woman named Patricia Okafor, Senior Vice President of Risk Management. Her voice carried the careful neutrality of someone already calculating liability. Ms. Martinez, I need you to walk me through your ownership claim. I did. Grandmother Patricia's death in June 2021. The will specifying me as sole beneficiary of the Maple Street property. The deed recorded with the county in August 2021. 3 years of property tax payments, all from my account. $400 in 2021, $4,350 in 2022, $4,600 in 2023. Homeowners insurance policies listing me alone. Utility bills in my name since September 2021. Can you send documentation? I can send it in the next 30 minutes. Please do. To this email address. And Ms. Martinez, do not contact your parents about this yet. We need to investigate how this happened before anyone is alerted. I sent everything from my phone in the parking lot. 22 documents. Each one a small piece of evidence that my parents had committed fraud against a federally regulated financial institution. Patricia Okafor called back at 6:47 p.m. We have a significant problem. The title search your parents provided shows them as owners, but it's from a company we've never used, Apex Title Solutions. When we ran our own search through our standard title company, you appeared as sole owner. The deed chain is clear and unambiguous. So they falsified the title search. That would be the charitable interpretation. The loan officer who processed this, Derek Chin, should have used our approved title companies. He didn't. Your parents somehow provided their own documentation and he accepted it. That's a violation of our lending policies and potentially federal banking regulations. What happens now? Our legal team is reviewing everything tonight. The loan hasn't funded yet. We were scheduled to transfer funds Monday morning. That's not happening. I'll call you tomorrow with next steps. In the meantime, do you have an attorney? I didn't. By 7:15 p.m. I did. Jennifer Wu, real estate litigation specialist, came recommended by a colleague whose family had dealt with property fraud. She answered her cell on the second ring. Send me everything, Jennifer said after I explained. Every document, every email, every text message from your parents about this property. I'll review tonight. My parents called at 8:03 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. Dad's voice was casual, relaxed. Hey sweetie, just wanted to let you know the equipment's being delivered Tuesday. Restaurant should be open by September. Maybe you can help with marketing? You're good with that social media stuff. The gambler's fallacy whispered in my head. Maybe they didn't understand, maybe they thought family property meant shared property, maybe one more explanation would fix this. But I'd been feeding that slot machine for 29 years. The jackpot of genuine respect had never been programmed into the system. I texted back. The bank called me. The property isn't yours. It never has been. Don't contact me again until you have an attorney. My phone rang 14 times over the next hour. I turned it off. Jennifer Wu called Friday morning at 8 a.m. sharp. I've reviewed everything. Your parents committed multiple felonies. They falsified ownership documents, presented fraudulent collateral to a federally regulated lender, and attempted to encumber property they don't own. The bank's legal exposure is substantial. If they'd funded that loan, they'd have a lien on a property where they have no legal standing. What's the next step? The bank will file a suspicious activity report with federal regulators. They'll refer this to law enforcement. Your parents will be contacted by investigators. You need to decide. Do you want to pursue this criminally or handle it as a civil matter? I thought about the ghost ledger that had been accumulating in my head for years. Not just money, though there was plenty of that. The $23,000 they'd borrowed for their last failed business venture, never repaid. The $8,500 in credit card debt they'd put in my name when I was 19. The ruined credit score that took me 6 years to rebuild. But the costs that compounded with interest weren't financial. They were the smaller violations that taught me my boundaries were suggestions, not laws. The college graduation dinner where they'd spent 45 minutes discussing my cousin's new car, then asked me to pay the $180 bill because they were a little short. The promotion to department manager I'd announced at Thanksgiving, $72,000 salary, youngest person at my firm to reach that level, that mom had responded to with, "That's nice," before launching into a story about their friend's daughter who was really successful in pharmaceutical sales. The time I'd asked them not to give my address to my ex and they'd done it anyway because he seemed so sincere about wanting to apologize. Each violation had been small enough to rationalize, large enough to erode something fundamental. Together they taught me that my property wasn't really mine, my boundaries weren't really boundaries, my voice didn't really matter. I want them to face the full legal consequences, I told Jennifer. Whatever those are. First National Business Lending's investigation moved with the methodical precision of an institution protecting itself from liability. By Friday afternoon, Derek Chin had been suspended pending review. By Monday morning, their fraud investigation unit had traced the falsified title documents to a print shop my father used for his previous business ventures. Patricia Okafor called me Monday at 2 p.m. We're filing a criminal complaint. The FBI handles bank fraud. They'll be contacting you for a statement. The FBI? Your parents attempted to defraud a federally insured financial institution. That's federal jurisdiction. My parents appeared at my apartment Tuesday evening. I watched through the doorbell camera as they stood on the landing. Mom was crying. Dad looked smaller somehow, shoulders hunched. "Please," Mom said to the camera. "Please let us explain. It's a misunderstanding. We just thought since you got it from Grandma Patricia and she was my mother, it was family property. We didn't mean to." I pressed the intercom button. "You falsified ownership documents and presented them to a bank. You ordered $180,000 in equipment using my house as collateral. You committed fraud. These are consequences. We're your parents. You're people who committed a federal crime using my property. Those are separate facts." I disconnected the intercom. The FBI agent who interviewed me Wednesday afternoon was a woman named Sarah Martinez. No relation, she clarified with a slight smile. She was thorough and professional, recording everything, asking me to walk through the timeline 3 separate times. "Your parents are claiming they believed they had rights to the property," she said. "They're saying it was a family misunderstanding. The deed has been in my name alone for 3 years. I've paid every tax bill, every insurance premium. There's no ambiguity in the documentation." I agree. Their attorney is trying to negotiate a plea agreement. Restitution, probation, no prison time. The U.S. Attorney's Office is considering it because the loan never funded. No actual loss to the bank beyond investigation costs. What do you recommend? That's not my decision. But off the record, people who do this once usually do it again. The pattern we're seeing in your family history suggests this isn't their first attempt at financial fraud involving you. The plea agreement came through in August. My parents would pay $45,000 in restitution to First National Business Lending, their investigation costs, legal fees, and Derek Chen's severance package since he'd been terminated. 3 years probation. 200 hours of community service. Mandatory financial counseling. And a permanent notation on their credit reports. They'd have to sell their boat, the one they'd bought last year for $32,000 after telling me they couldn't help with Grandma Patricia's funeral costs. Then their RV. Then they'd take out a loan against their own house to cover the remaining restitution. Uncle Thomas called me in September. Your mother is devastated. Don't you think you're being harsh? They made a mistake. They committed fraud. Family is supposed to forgive. Family is supposed to respect property rights and not commit federal crimes. We have different definitions. I blocked his number. By October, my life had measurably improved. My savings account showed $52,000, the highest it had been since graduate school. No emergency calls for money. No crisis management for self-inflicted disasters. No emotional labor disguised as filial obligation. I refinanced the Maple Street house, taking advantage of lower rates. The monthly payment dropped from $1,680 to $1,340. I used the savings to book a trip to Portugal for November. 2 weeks solo hiking the coastal trails in silence. Standing in my kitchen on a Sunday morning, coffee in hand, I realized the apartment was quiet in a way it had never been before. No dread of the next phone call. No anticipation of the next crisis. No slot machine promising that one more coin would finally pay out. The opposite of family chaos isn't revenge. It's peace. And peace isn't something you inherit or receive. It's something you build by finally, carefully, after years of hoping otherwise, enforcing your boundaries with legal documentation instead of wishful thinking. The deed is clear. The title is mine. The account is closed. And I am finally completely free.